Okay. So hello everybody. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining the 12th of the 30 Days of Learning program. I'm Jeffrey Tony, and it's a pleasure to welcome you all to the session today. The past sessions, the session I held today worked participants through building a Canvas application. And in this session, we'll be walking you all through what it's like to build a model-driven application without having to write much code using Microsoft's Power Apps. Um, Toba is very experienced using Microsoft's Power Platform and he will be moderating, he will be facilitating this session. So at this point, I'll pass it over to Toba to begin. Hi, Toba, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Over to you now.
All right. Yeah, good evening, everyone. We are welcome once again. Just a moment for me to share my screen. Yeah, once again, good evening, everyone. So, I am Toba Gbeleyi. So, I'll be facilitating us for the 12th today. So, a Microsoft certified trainer. So, today we'll be speaking about building a model-driven Power application with Power Apps, model-driven application with Power Apps, just like Jafet has said. So, basically, we've been talking about Canvas app. I know yesterday we did with Canvas app, where we can easily create our app with good user experience and connect our data source to it. So this evening, we are going to be talking about the model-driven application. So basically, model-driven application leverage on our data model, relationships, and business process to automatically generate an immersive and responsive application. So, looking into that, I'm going to let us know that our model-driven application, just like we did, I think, the second day we had an introduction to our Dataverse. So the Dataverse is going to be built on Dataverse model-driven application. So our data model, the relationship in our Dataverse, our tables, so those are the things model-driven app leverage on for us to build. So if we don't have those ones as a prerequisite, we won't be able to create a model-driven site application. All right. So basically, Power model-driven apps, it's with Power model-driven app, you don't need to write any code. It gives us the capability to customize our app without writing any code. So it's the component focus is no code design environment. You can easily, with model-driven app, you can easily build your business rules and business process flow to model your processes that you're trying to build. So then the app that you build using model-driven, they are complex but responsive app, which are responsive on mobile and web. Yeah, so as you can see what we have on screen, this is a sample of model-driven application, which I'm going to take us through building it in a short period of time. So looking at this, just like I said earlier on, you create our apps around forms and processes, like your tables, so your forms, your business process. That's what we use in creating the model-driven application. So we are going to design sophisticated table and form quickly. With model-driven, you'll be able to design your forms and tables and columns. So then the other component it has is it's rich and responsive client experience, just like what you have on screen right now. So it also allows you to reuse, yes, all the components that you build on model driven. You can reuse them, your form, your dashboard, your flows. You can reuse them across multiple applications. Yeah. So this is a business process flow sample, which we are going to be looking at later on. So this is a visual indicator that tells user where they are in business process. So it's just like what you have on screen now. That's capital approval, place order, receive order. So you know exactly where you are in the process. So it's actually with this, you don't need any training. It's actually drag and drop. So you'll be able to drag and drop it and those components, and you are good to go. So we are going to do this going forward. Configurable to support common line of business methodology, actually. So just think about the business scenario. You'll be able to build your business process around it. So it's configurable to suit those business scenarios. So then when we talk about server-side logic, you can also give us this capability as well, where creating your roll-up columns and easily get some validations along the roll-up columns. So you can easily update your related table with synchronous workflow. So here, what we have on screen now, for those that are developers, this developer capability, there's developer capability as well. So you are not being left out as well in this model-driven solution. So you can integrate your solution shaker, you can integrate your sandbox instance for application lifecycle management operations. So all these can be done using the model-driven application as well. So what we have on screen now is make.powerapps.com, or for those that are following and you want to build alongside with me. So this same make.powerapps.com is where you will click and for you to start building your model-driven application. The same place we click on yesterday while building the Power App Canvas. So you can create your model-driven app right from there as well. So the components, app component data, we have our tables, we have our columns, we have the relationships. Our tables, I think I told us that the last time when I was doing the introduction to Dataverse. Our tables, what table is, also what it's called entity in some other database framework. So we have the columns within those tables, so which we are going to create some columns there as well in this session. Then we have the relationship between those tables, two or more tables, then the choices as well, so which we are going to be looking at later on. So those are the components approach. So this is how table looks like for those that didn't participate the last time. So this is what we mean by tables. This is a table architecture. Then we have your data type, which can be configured within the columns. So then we have the app designer. So this is what we will use to create. This is a designer for us to create our application, actually. So this is the app designer for that. So then we have the sitemap designer. This is what create our navigation. With this sitemap designer, you'll be able to create your navigations, and in no time you'll have an application. So then this is a form designer. So for us to create a responsive UI form, you can, this is a UI component to design that, the form designer. So then we also have a view designer, drag and drop. You'll be able to drag and drop and create your view, what you want to see. You can even sort by and apply filter to the views. So we are going to be doing all of this going forward. This is a business rule designer. Yes, this allows to actually validate, define rules for our businesses. So, and you'll be able to validate it as well. So then this is a business process designer, just like what I mentioned earlier on. So here you'll be able to get step by steps of where we are, create those stages, and without any code, you'll be able to do this. So we also have the dashboard designer. So we have all of this basically for the inclusive for the UI dashboard for those that are looking at visualization within the component of model driven. So we have the dashboard designer as well. Then this is a sample application for model driven. We can build something of this nature using the model driven. So it's quite easy, and also I'm going to dive straight into that now. This is our demo session now into building that. So for the learning objective for today is we're going to create a standalone model driven application. We are going to customize our forms and view for model driven app. So we are going to create a business process flow as well. So in this same course. So let me dive straight into the demo of the application. So let's just a moment, please. All right, so let me just show you my environment. So for those that are following, just like I said the last time, I'm sure for us that has been following right from time, we will have been familiar with this page. This is the same make.powerapp.com. If you click on it, if you open it, this is where it takes you to. So you'll be able to have the home page where you'll be able to build your app, integrate SharePoint, and also I'm going to build my app around a solution. There's a practice approach that I actually like, and is actually the standard. So I'm going to create a solution for this particular demo process that I'm going to do now. So I'm going to name the solution. I create the solution. So before I go into that, I'm going to paint a business scenario so that we'll be able to get familiar with what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to let's assume in our faculty, in our department, in our schools, we have an admin where they will be able to order some devices. Yes, in such a way that they store some devices and they'll be able to order it. So I'm going to create a equipment ordering app or application using model driven. So the backend model driven basically most times I think is positioned for the back end office for people who are admin within your organization to use. So why the Canvas app is interface for everyone, users within the organization to be able to interface and punch in something. So let's just assume we are having our model driven as a back office right now for people who are admin in our schools, various schools and organization. And what they do is to register some equipment, and while some set of people order those equipment, and you're able to see the steps, the approvals that follows while ordering those equipment. So for now, I'm going to create a solution now around this. This is where I selected for solution for us to have all our components inside one solution. And this will be easy for us to export it, or for us to another environment actually, or for us to deploy it as a solution to our client or customer or anywhere we want to after building our all our app. So it's also saves the solution. So let me create that. So I'm calling it equipment ordering. So you can select a publisher here. So if you want to order, so you can have a default publisher, or you select a publisher as this gives us versions of solutions. So when you update your solution, you'll be able to have more versions of it. And if you are trying to export it, or you are trying to create some, so you have different versions of your solution. Once you have an improvement to that solution, so you'll be able to have more versions of it. So I have that this is the version 1 of the solution. So just let's wait a moment while the solution created. So we have the equipment ordering solution right here. So I'm going to open my solution. So as you can see, it has given us the architecture component of things that are needed to be in the solution. So we have the app, we have the chatbot, the cloud flow, the tables, and also we can have other processes, and you see them as long as far as I continue in the doing this. For us to do this, so we are going to create two tables. So right away, I'm going to be creating one table. I'm calling it equipment table. So let me add a new. So from top here, you can just select new, then you'll be able to add your table. So if I select table, then I can call it, let me call it equipment. So you have the primary column name. I believe for those that are familiar with database, you'll be able to understand what primary column means, like the primary ID of the table, so or the entity, the primary column. So it's going to be, I'm going to leave it as name for this equipment. So you have that. You can specify it to whatever you want here as well. So then you can put a description to it, so you can get more of that using this. So you can also click on advanced option to add some things that you want to be in the table. If you want it to be integrating with SharePoint document management, you want some other options here. So we just want to keep it simple. So because of our time, so I'm going to just enable attachment, or should in case I need an attachment to be, so include notes and files. So I'm going to add that to the table. So then I'm going to save that. Because this might take a little bit time, because it's not just, so what this does actually is it's going to create some standard columns alongside with the tables that comes with it. So then it's going to create some schema for the table as well. That be schema. So as you can see, we already have the equipment table here. So then the next thing is for us to add some columns. So the components, the schema for it is the columns, the relationship with keys. So we have the name, the properties of the table is the standard table, then we have it as equipment. So then the data experience, we can have the forms, the views, the chart, your dashboard for those that are looking at visualization. So business rules, your commands for the table. So all these can be done using with the table. So then I'm going to create some columns for us to be able to build. Just don't forget, I said it earlier on, that for us to have a model-driven application, we have to have our tables, our columns, the relationship between those columns. So it's built on top of those and your business logic. So let me go into columns. So I'm creating some columns on the equipment table, or to let me select the columns so we can see the list of columns that schema that we already have, the standard columns. So as you can see, data was already give us created by, you don't need to start thinking about all of this anymore. So created on, modified by, so whenever anything is added, all these standard table are already there, your time zone, your UTC version. So for the custom column, the primary column is name, just like what I had here. So going to be what I will use to single line of test, what I will use to get the name of the equipment. So now I'm going to create more columns within the scope of the standard column that we have here. So for us to have easy for us to achieve our end result. So new column. So I'm going to add a display name. So the name for the first column is the description of the equipment. We have the name of the equipment already, then we have a description of the equipment. So we have a description. You can add a description if you actually want. So description usually be like a multi-line of text, or so I'm going to select like more text area, not single line of text now. I'm going to select a text area, then I'm going to make it, if you want it to be a required column, you can also select it as well. So I'm making this option. I'm going to select, there's a columns I'm going to make required. so that we can see how required and what the functionality of the required, so how it works. So looking at this, I want it, the maximum character count, I want it to be around 2000 because it's a description. You might want to add so many things as a description. So let me just put that as the maximum character count. So I can close the advanced option, then save this particular description column. Then also, let's just wait a bit while that creates. So I'm going to create another column. I'm going to call that price. So for us to have an equipment, then we should have the price as well. After knowing the name of the description of the equipment, then let's talk about the price of the equipment as well. So the data type for that, I believe we all understood what data type means, what we want to accept. So the data type for that is going to be currency, since we are talking about price. So we already have that as part of the data type, which we can select here. So I'm selecting this right away. Then our currency, let me keep it optional as well. Then let me save that. So what this will do is that it's going to, based on the location that I have, it's going to select the currency. So Dataverse give us that flexibility. So going forward, you'll be able to see that as well. So after creating price, I'm going to create equipment type, a table, a choice table, which is equipment type. Let me do that right away. So let me say equipment type. So this is going to be a choice. So I'm going to show us that. So we have this choice. So then I can create my own choice based on this. If it doesn't exist before. So there are some list of choice that we already have here. So if it doesn't exist what you are looking at, you might want to add it as part of the choices that exist within this. So I'm going to create that right away. So I'm creating a new choice. So I'm calling it equipment type. So this way, you'll be able to see that these choices is reusable. So if you have created some choices before, you'll be able to reuse them later on. So just like what I mentioned earlier on, that all the components you are creating, they are reusable so across multiple applications. So this choice, you'll be able to reuse it later on. Instead of creating equipment type later on, you might want to just leverage on this. So the first thing under equipment type for our COTIA, let me put some. Then let me add another one. Let me call it furniture. Let me add another one. Let me call it stationery. So I think these are some basic equipment. We can add more to it. We can come back to add more to the choice. So it's automatically picks that. So basically, let me just keep it simple this way. So I'm saving this right away. So after saving this, so I can now select this choice. So just like what I said earlier on. So we have the equipment type here. So I can select it now. So if you want to have a default choice that once you should have a default, by default, something should be there. So from the list of choices that you've created, you can select it. But for now, I'm just going to keep it as none. So I'm going to save this actually. So another columns I'm going to create aside from equipment type is the model number of the equipment. And so let me model number. So this I'll keep it as single line of text. So because it's going to be alphanumeric alphanumeric data type. So I'm going to keep it as single line of text. So then I can make it required, because if you don't have a number, I don't want you to. So the equipment should have a number. So let me put that as business required. So it's going to be required. So then let me save that as well. So just in a moment, I'm going to also create another one. Let me call it location, where those equipment are being stored. So, location. So let me have that as well. I can so I'm going to make this as well a choice column. So just to relate with something we can relate with. So I'm going to create the new choice as well. So I'm going to call it location. Rich. Let me just keep it as location type. So for easy use, location type. All right, so I'm going to give location type. Let's say we have laboratory. Then we have, aside from laboratory, we have, let's say we have faculty. Then let me just add one more. Let me call it offices. Yeah. So we'll be able to track down which particular location those equipment are. So I'm going to save. I'm going to select this choice again. So location type. I'm saving that right away. So yeah, so having done this, I'm quickly going to do two more things in this table. So what I'm going to add to this table, I'm going to create the forms and the view for this table. So first, I'm going to create the view for us to see how view is being done. So the view are the things how we want to see it, what we want to see. So I'm going to create that. So we have the list of active equipment, list of views by default that we have here. You can create your own and make it the default view, but I'm going to leverage on the active equipment that we already have. So if I select this, it automatically take me to the view designer where I'll be able to create the views. So each of the columns I've created, I'll be able to add the views here. So I'm going to, so we have the name already, it's here. So I can drag it, let me just make it a little bit. So this created on, I don't really need it, let me take it off. So then I'm going to add the equipment, the description of the equipment. So I'm going to drag it, just like I said the last time, it's just drag and drop, you'll be able to add what you want. So as I've dragged description here, then I also created equipment type. Let me drag it a little bit and drop it here. So we have equipment type. Then I'm also going to add the location. Then I'm going to add the price. Then the price has not been dragged. And we have the model number. Let me add that as well. So let me put it here. Yes, so the model number. So I think these are the list of columns I just created. The name, the model number, description, equipment, location. and price. So this way we already have our view. So we can add some sort. I just want to keep it simple. You can, if you want to sort by, so you can sort by any of the column if you want it to be sort by. So probably the location, the price, the description. So you can sort by any of the column. Then you can add a filter to it, what you want it to be filtering by. So you can do that, play around that later on at your own time. So I'm going to validate or save this view. Then I'm going to, let me just publish it before. So we have to imbibe that common practice of publishing, saving and publishing so that you can be able to see it. So I'm going to take it back to the table. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to create the form as well, the same way we had the view. So I'm going back to equipment, which is our table. Then the form, I'm selecting the form now to create the form. So if I select this, selecting the form automatically give me this. So we have a quick card view, we have a card, then we have a main form. So looking at this, we'll be able to, I'm going to leverage, and you can also create your own form as well. So based on what you want. So, but I'm going to leverage on the main form that we already have here. So I can reference it later on in our application and use. So selecting it, the main form, we open a form designer for us, just like what I showed you in the slide earlier on. So we'll be able to design our form. This is where you'll be able to add your input. So you don't need letting this. I want it to be a 2-column, so you can lay out. So I can add that, make it a 2-column layout. So let me just undo this. So it's the talking about the general, so 2-column layout. So we have the name. So I can now select, coming here, I can select the list of our all the columns I created the last time. So the first one is name. So then I can have the model number and description alongside the same place. And so adding the name, you add the model number. So this is up. So I'm going to drag it down below the name. Then let's add the description as well. So I'm dragging it down. As you can see, I'm just doing the drag and drop for this. So it's just, we don't need to. So then the other one is the equipment type and price. So I'm going to add that as well. So let me put them in the others section. Yeah. Then the location. Sorry. Then the price. So I've just dragged that here right away. So then I'm going to save this. This is the form that I want to use to save the different equipment that we have. So let me save this form. Then let me just do a publish as well. So we can design this form the way we want, or look for UI online and design it in a more sophisticated way. So, but this, I just want to keep it simple because of our time. So, another thing I'm going to do aside from the form which we've created, so we'll be able to create the equipment table, create the forms and views. So I'm going to also add a new table, a second table, which will be for the ordering itself. So to order those equipment. So I'm going to call this. So I'm going to go out of the equipment table. So if I click on new, if I click on select tables, then go back to tables. So we'll be able to see. And if I click on new, I can be able to select table. So I want to add another table called equipment order. So the primary column name for that, I'm going to change name to order reference. I can add a description if I want, but I don't think I'm adding any description right now. So I'm going to enable attachment for this as well. So let me save this so we can figure out. So I'm going to be fast with this particular table. I've shown us how to create tables so we can follow the way we did for equipment. So while this saves, so I'm going to add some few columns as well for the ordering. So new columns. So we have the order reference. So then we need a request date. So I'm going to make this a date only column. Then I can save this. Then I also need another column called order placed. So I'm going to make that a date only column. So that takes the date we should place the order as well. So I'm going to save this. So I'm going to create another column called approval status. This is going to be a choice column. I'm going to scroll down to select the choice. If you don't have approval status there, so I need to create that. So I can say approved. And let me pick another choice, rejected. So I can save this as well and select the choice. So we have it here now, approval status, then I can save it. So I'm going to also create another column called order received. I'm going to make that also a choice column, but now it's going to be a yes or no, just to validate that it has actually been received. So automatically it picks the yes or no value for me, so I can save this as well. And I'm also going to create I'm going to create a relationship between the two tables. Actually, someone needs to place the order. So for the equipment, so this I'm going to do a lookup to the other equipment table that I created earlier on. So I'm going to call that simply equipment. So it's going to be a lookup instead of single line. So it's going to be looking up to after selected. So the related table will now be, it's going to look up to the equipment table I already created the last time. As you can see, we have the equipment. So that will also be able to give us is going to look up to that table. So having saved this, automatically what happens after I did that lookup into the other table is that I'm going to show it automatically creates a relationship between the two tables. So the first one, you will see the, let me click on relationship so that we can see the list of relationships. So as you can see the equipment column I just created, the relationship is many to one. So what we are looking at is, so it's going to pick one equipment, many to one. So it's looking at, so we can have many others, but it's going to look up to one equipment in the other table. So it has created that. So you can read up on relationships and table because of our time. So how we can have one to many, many to many relationship and many to one. So but this has actually created many to one relationships. So between the two tables. So I've done that. So then let me just quickly create the views so that I know many of us can't wait for us to create the app. So let me create the forms and view for this as well. So having this form, let me quickly select. I told us the main form. I'm going to work with the main form. So I'm going to select, make it also a two column form as well, two column section form. So I can come to the component, or I can come down here, which is the component. So I can make it two column section form. So sorry, let me select first. Okay, let me select this. Why is it? Just a moment. Okay, I think let me do it this way. Okay, yes, actually that's what I wanted to do. So let me take the owner, just like I drop it at the header the last time. Let me put it there. So we have the order reference at the top. So I'm going to add the equipment as well at the top. So I can come here and select the individual table. We'll be able to see the list of columns. So I'm going to select the equipment and add it to the first column. So I think that has not been able to drop. So let me drag it there very well. So we have the equipment there now. So this other section, so I'm going to name it order process. So I'm going to add the other I created, the other columns I created. So request date. That's been added. No, I want it to be in order process. So let me drag it back there. Yeah, so we have the request date. So the next one is going to be the approval status. And I can also have the, so I can have the order placed, order received. We can have this way. So then having done this, I'm going to save this as well. I'm going to publish this as well. So once this is done, I can go back and create my form as well, or my view, sorry. Equipment, go back to equipment order, and I can select the view. So let me update the view, then I can create my business process flow. So this is the view. We have the order reference. So let me add the other thing so I can have the approval status. I'm taking off the created on. So approval status. We have that now. Let me just adjust it. Then the equipment, order reference equipment, approval status, then we can have the order place. Have it here. Where is it? Okay. So we have it now. Then we can have the order received. Then we can have the request date. So these are the columns I'm working with. So I'm going to save this as well and publish. So just like I said, we can add what we want to use to sort it. We can sort, and we can add the filter to it as well. So I'm going back. So having done with our tables, relationships, and the forms and views, so I'm going to create a business process flow around this. So I'm going to create new. Oh, sorry, not view. Let me go out of the, let me just come back to this solution. So I can see here, I can see if I click on new, we have automation, we have cloud flow, we have schedule flow. So but we are going to do a process. So I'm creating a business process. So this is it. So let me call the business process flow or equipment order process. And this allows us to select our table that we are working with, which is the table we are working with, which is the equipment order table, the equipment table. So I'm going to save that. So this automatically open the business process flow designer for us. Just a moment. Let's wait for it to open. Why that loads? So what we should expect is a business process flow designer where we'll be able to create the stages where we are in each of the processes. So we are right here. So we have stages, then we have conditions. If you look at the components here, you can create a condition within your business process. We have the data step, we have the action step, workflows, which can also be added. So I'm going to leverage on data step and stages for the purpose of this demo. So I'm going to add more stages. So let me click on add. So I can click on add from here and I can drag and drop it as well. So if I select add now, so automatically, so if I click on add a new stage as well, if I click on this, so we are working with 4 stages. So I'm going to do a drag and drop so that we can see that we can also drag and drop it. So here as well. So that's how it works. So for each of the stages, so I want to name the first one as request. So this is where you make the request. So you need to click on apply. If you don't select apply, it won't save it. So then the next stage is going to be request date, approval, sorry. I'm going to apply that. So the next one is going to be procurement. We can apply that as well. Then the next one, which is the last one, is going to be confirmation. So I've applied that as well. So each of these stage, we have some data steps to which are there. So I'm going to select our tables for those data steps so that we can have more data steps. We can add more, we can drag and drop them, more data steps into those steps. So just like what I just did now. So, but I'm just going to, all of this, and we're going to making use of just one. So I'm using this request. So for the request, what you need to come and do here is to set the request date. So the data field for that, what you are filling there is going to be request date. So I'm applying that as well. Then we have the approval. So here we have the approval status. Then for the procurement, we have the order placed. Sorry, select the data step. So the procurement will be able to confirm that they actually place the order after the request has been made. So then we have done this. And the last one is the confirmation. It's actually happened. So I'm going to select that, which is order received. So that will be all for this. So having done this, this is a simple business process flow which I've already created. We can add more complexity to it, add conditions to it. We can add our data step workflows to it. We can even add some or build some automation around it in such a way that for each stage, it automatically send an email to trigger who comes next, the approval personnel, the procurement personnel, and all. So we can do all of that. So having done this, I'm just going to save it. Then I'm going to activate it. So it's going to prompt me to activate. So after this activation, that is when I can confirm my business process is actually working fine. As you can see, the process may take some little bit before it works, actually validating and also activating it. Just a moment, please. I think, okay, so we already have, yeah, so we already have it activated. So, if it's not activated, you have, as you can see, we have the status here, deactivate. So it means it's currently activated. So we can go back to our solution. So we have the process. As you can see, it has added the process as well here. We have our tables, then we have our choices, which we've worked with. You can see all of that. So having done all of this, then we can now talk about our model-driven application. So I'm going to create the app. This app can be created in just some seconds or minutes. I'll be done with creating the app now. If I select new now, like select app, so I can click on model driven. If it's a canvas app you're adding here, you can also create your canvas app within the component of the solution. So this is going to be a model driven. So I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to call it equipment ordering app. So I can add a description to it if I like, if I don't. So then I create the app. So this automatically give me the app application. As you can see, I already created an app using this. So this has already created the app for me, just for me to add those components that I've created into the app component, and I'm good to go. So I'm going to switch to classic view. Let me do a publish first so that I can easily do that. Yeah, so I can switch to a classic view so we can see how actually being. For just a moment, please. That's actually loading. Just a moment in network. So the app is actually coming up. Just a moment to have classic editor, just like what I show you. I want us to have the experience of what I showed the last time in the slide. You know why it's taking a little bit longer, but it's meant to come up right now. All right, so we're having it coming up. So it's taking longer than expected. Let me just try and see if I can switch. All right, so sorry for the delay. It's coming up now. So I think we have our uploading. Yeah, so we have that right now. So the first thing we do when it comes to this app designer is to create our site map. So I'm going to create that right away. So I'm going to leave this. We have area, we have group and sub area. So I'm going to leave the area the way it is. So I'm going to name this group. Let me change the name of the group to admin office. Then the sub area. So I'm going to add, that's where we add our entity, the tables we are looking at. So we have it, the tables are called entity here. So we'll be able to select that. If you're adding a dashboard as well to your navigation, you can see that here, web resource URL. So I'm going to work with entity. So that will allow us to select our table. So I'm selecting the table for equipment first. So to whatever I want, I can do that. So let me just leave that and add more. Okay, let me change the name to take of the name. So we want it as equipment. So to show as equipment. So I'm going to add another sub area to it. So the second sub area, I'm going to name that's going to be the equipment order. It's just an entity as well. So then we can add the equipment order here. So also then we can now have our, so we have that as well. So having done this, select this, we can add more sub area, more groups into it. We'll see how our navigation will look like just to drive this demonstration. So I'm going to save this. Then also publish. I can now save and close it, the sitemap. I'm done actually. So as you can see, immediately I did this, it's giving me, it automatically bring the entity views, the forms and all of that here. So I can now select them what I want. So if I have a dashboard, I can also have that coming up here as well. So the sitemap give us, once you map it from the sitemap, you have all the entities and views coming up. So what I'm going to do now is to select a business process. So it's going to be selecting all of them. So I'm going to select the particular one, reference the particular one that I am working with. So this is it. So then that gives us the business process. So automatically, so we have forms, views. We need to reference that as well. So forms, we have all here. So the form I was working with is the main form. So for the views as well, I'm going to uncheck the all, then I'm working with the active equipment. So if you have other views you've created, you see them there as well. So same for equipment. If you have other forms you've created, you see them here as well. So you can reference them directly from here. So I can click on views as well. Then I can do this. So I have the active one. So selected. So I've not selected form and view for this. I want us to see what happens if you don't do the referencing. So you see, if I try to save it, then if I try to validate, it's going to give me a warning. So what the warning means is that I've not referenced the form and view for the equipment ordering. So I need to reference that. So I'm trying to, I just want to show us so you see how the validation works. So I need to do that same thing for this as well. So then select that the active equipment. So once I'm done with this, I can save this and we are already done having our app. So if I click on validate right now, you see all the error are gone. So I can publish this app right away and play it. So I'm going to play the model-driven application for us to see. So as you can see, I have my admin office, then the equipment order. So we have our views as well. So the view I created, the name, the model driven, we have that here as well. So then we have the same for other reference equipment, the views that I have here so as well. So let me quickly add some few equipment for us to test what we've done actually, just some few equipment, and then we can have that. So for us to see the forms that I created the last time. So if I click on new here, I'll be able to add more record. If you click on delete, you'll be able to do that as well. So look at this, you can create a flow around this as well, run a report around the data that are available here. You can integrate it with Power BI and all. Then you can get an Excel template, generate an Excel template of the data that are stored in all of this. So let me quickly add some data so that we'll be able to give life to what we have. So as you can see, this is the form I created the last time, the name, the model number, the description, equipment type, and also let me just give it a name. So let me give some name. So what I'm going to do is let me okay, I have some name here. So let me select box standing fan, or let me do HP laptop. So model number, let me call it HP 001. Let me give it a description. Laptop PC. So equipment type is, I think, is fall under electronics. So I can now where is the location, laboratory, faculty, wherever I want it to be. So let me select faculty. So then the price of the HP laptop should be let's say around let's say around 300,000. So because we are the location I select we have here is Nigeria, so it automatically pick the Naira value since I select currency as the data type. So I'm going to save this. Then let me add more data into it. Just a moment, please. So let me add more data into it. So let me say HP printer, model number, let's say HP PR 005, then description. Let me just call it a printer. So equipment type is also electronic. So we can now say laboratory. Let's put that in the office as well. Then we can have the price as 200,000. We already have that. It's already formatted. Also, let me save that as well. So also, I'm going to add more. So let me just add something around. Okay, fan. Let's have that. Model number OX 223. Let me use the description. A standing for then equipment type. So we can call that also also electronic. So let's say that is we are putting that in the faculty, then we can have price 35,000 Naira. So let me save that. Then let me just add one or two equipment more. So let me say desk or paper clips. So let me put that. So description of equipment type is under stationary. So let's put that in faculty, then we can add the price to it as well. So let me save and close. Let me save this as well. Yeah, so we have enough data now. So if I try as much as possible to refresh this equipment, I have a lot of data here. So, and their prices, as you can see, we have them here, then the location, the price, so we have them. So as you can see, we have the views, we have the forms. So then if I want to place an order, so I can use a Canvas app to place my order probably. Then I can also try as much as possible to use I can also use I can also order it here as well. So let's assume I want to place an order. So using the model driven. So what I need to do is just to, as you can see, we have the business process that talks about the stages. So I can just select the order reference number, get the equipment, probably let's say order reference 001. So then we can select the equipment. Let's select the HP laptop. So from here, then we can have the request date, the approvals goes based on the approval status that we have in our organization. So I can make it a default date. So I can select today as a request date. So if I do, having done this, so I can just click on save. Then once I do this, so we can create some flows around this in such a way that it triggers a flow in such a way that it notifies someone that you've actually placed an order. So they need to come and further the request. They need to come and do more things. So if I click on next stage now, so I can now, or the person who is meant to approve, who might be like probably a line manager or an approval personnel, so can come here and click on approve or reject. So once the person approves it, then it moves to the next stage. So we automatically see the approved. So then we can also, the order placed, so the date the order was placed, you can also set that. So it has been placed, so we can have that as well. Then we go to the next stage. Then we can now talk about the order has been received. So active for less than 1 minute. You can see if the time is spent between all the stages, you'll be able to see all of that as well. So if we, not because of our time, if we wait more time, you will be able to see the stages where each of them are. So if I select yes now, it has been received, then this has actually confirmed that the procurement team has actually approved that they get it done. They've procured the order, they've received it, and it has been received by the necessary person who placed the order. So I can click on finish now. So this end the whole process. So we can do more tests on our end. So as you can see, this is what we actually position as the backend office, which is positioned as the model-driven application. So we've just built an app using a model-driven. So far, so good. We've been able to create our tables, columns, we'll be able to create our forms, views, then we'll be able to create a business process flow, then we'll be able to create a standalone model-driven application. So I think that comes to the end of the learning today. So if you have any questions, I don't know if you have some questions you might want to ask before we close the session for today. Please, can you ask your question now?
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. My question here is that, okay, after we have finished like creating this whole app, so I don't know, is there any way that we can like integrate it to like maybe app store or somewhere, like so that if somebody is trying to make use of it can go there to use it, or this particular app we are creating is more of like for the people in charge, like they want to monitor everything happening, or these are an app we're creating in order for people to have access to it too. So I don't really get the whole idea about the creation of app. Like I want to know how to make use of it if I'm going to like maybe put it in a business point of view. How am I going to make use of this particular app like this?
All right. So basically, if you let me paint it this way, so this app can actually, that was why I started with, if you can see my screen right now, let me go back to that was why I started with building it in a solution. So since we have this whole app built in a solution, it can actually be exported. So yes, we have the solution, sorry. So I can publish all customization within this solution. So I think that is still trying to load. Okay, so we have the solution now. So if I publish this, I can export this solution and save it and put it in any environment and sell it out, and or put it in Microsoft actually have a store which you can research on later on. Microsoft has a store which you can put your application, your solution. Yes, your solution. So once you have those solution, once you are done building it, position it for business, and you have seen that this can actually solve a particular problem in the society. So you can put that in Microsoft Store, and with that, you will be able to, you can export it as a solution. So as you can see, once I'm done with everything I need to do here, all I need to do is to publish or customization. So this will give me the version 1 of the solution. Then I can click on export, export the solution. So I can just come out of the solution. Sorry about that. Let me just do that so that you can see after I've published all customization. So this is the equipment ordering. So I can select it, then export solution. So if I export it, I can have the file inside in my own personal PC downloaded. Yeah. Personal. So yes, so that you can upload. You can give a description. There's a process for posting in Microsoft App Store actually. So you need to go through the process and get all of that and meet all those requirements. So once all those requirements are met, then you'll be able to add some documentation to your solution, what it solves and all of that. So then once you're able to do that, then you can import it into that environment as well. So this solution, as you export it now, if you have another organization that in need of your solution, that was why I said we need to have all our app in a solution. So you can export the solution, give it, sell it to them, and also, I don't know if they actually answer your question.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Yeah. Do we have other questions?
Yes, so we have Pius Joseph.
Yeah, Pius, can you? Okay, just a moment.
Hello, good
Yes, good evening.
Can you? Good evening.
Yes, okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toba. Please, I just want to ask: must every Canvas app have a backing model-driven app?
Not a must. Not a must.
But as in, is it advisable that it should have?
Yes, so every Canvas app is not a must. So it depends on the solution that you are building. Do you understand now?
Okay.
So if you have a solution that speaks to people at the back end, like admin people, then you have, let's assume you are in an organization where people, okay, you want to do a registration within an organization. So they do all those registration. And there are some people at the back who needs to do an approvals and all. So that is when model driven comes in. Do you understand what I'm saying now? So those back people, like admin session, they'll be able to. So using that, you'll be able to create a model-driven application for that, and they'll be able to have access to it. So it gives them personalization that they are also give them some importance for them to know that they can actually perform all of this. So you'll be able to see those process, the flows. So, but if your app doesn't have anything to do with approvals, flows, you understand? So I don't think it's needed.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It depends on the solution you're trying to solve. Do you have any other question? If we don't have any, I assume we are good and we understand everything that has been said so far.